Hello dear students, welcome back to your science classes. How are you all? I hope you all are healthy and doing well. So students, I'm your science educator again here with a new chapter, and today we have chapter number 14, force, its functions and types. So today we are going to learn about the functions of the force and how many types of forces we have. But before starting this chapter, have a look on your learning objectives. So the first thing we have to understand exactly what is a force, and after this how strong and how weak we have the forces. Force moves things, opposite forces and types of forces. So all of you, are you ready? Let's get started. So first we start, what is a force? We understand that block cat moves because the blocks pull it. We understand that a block cat moves because blocks pull it. A cycle rickshaw moves due to person pedaling it. A bicycle moves when someone pedals it, and train or bus is pulled by an engine. When opening a door, we either push or pull it. Similarly, when extracting water from a well, we have to pull the bucket up using a rope. In all these situations, we apply force. Therefore, a push or pull referred to as a force. So, what we understand here? We say force, right? So, force is a kind of a word which give a feeling that we have to push or we have to pull something, right? Just somebody say you have apply force, right? So apply force, we have to, what we have to do, we have to push or pull something, and we have so many examples of push and pull, and basically we can say we have so many examples of forces in our day-to-day life. For example, so we have so many examples of force, we have so many examples of push and pull, or we can say also force. For example, if you ever travel in an auto rickshaw, so you observe that it is applying the force. If you are sitting in a rickshaw, basically, so when we pedal it, right, we apply force on paddles, or basically we can say bicycle we have. So these are the forces. If you ever pull water from a well, so what you observe, we are putting our energy, okay, and we pushing it, we are, right? So students, first of all, we have to understand what is a force. So basically force is, as the name suggests, okay, so we have to push or pull something, okay. As we read in this, we understand that a block cart moves because block pull it. A cycle rickshaw moves due to person paddling it. A cycle moves when someone paddles it, and a train or a bus is pulled by an engine. When opening a door, we either push or pull it. Similarly, when extracting water from a well, we have to pull the bucket up using a rope. In all these situations, we apply force. Therefore, a push or pull is referred as a force. So basically, what we understand here, any kind of push and any kind of pull is given by us, given by any other object, that is referred as your force. In rickshaw, what we understand here, when we paddling it, okay, when we paddles on the paddles, so that will result into the force and we move straight forward. And for example, we have bus, auto rickshaw, car, so these all things, this push and pull will be happen just because of the your engine. So these are the things we have to consider. Of one of the main example, we have, you in your day-to-day life, you open and close so many times your door. So what you do, when you push it, so it get closed, and when you pull it, it get open. So these are the things which we have to understand here, that pull and push basically refer as your force. Now we move forward, strong and weak forces, okay. So this is basically who is more strong and who is more weak. So a strong force is a big push or a pull. A big engine pulls the train with more number of bogies, it pulls with a strong force. A weak force is small push or pull. A toy engine pulls the toy train with a weak force. So what we understand here, if I have this AC remote, so here I have, so for taking it, I have to apply a small pull. That's it. Okay, this is my pull, but this is your weak force. And when we have a big train and we have so many bogies in that particular train, so what we observe at that time, we need a strong and a big engine. It means it is applying a strong force. The amount of push and pull you are given to any object to take it wherever you want to be, so it is referred as your strong and weak forces. I hope, is it clear to you? So basically what you have to understand, how much stronger your push and pull, it is basically referred as strong force and weak force. That's it. Next we have force move things, and as we already know that if we have a if you If you sit on a rickshaw, what you observe? A strong force needed to move heavy things and a weak force is needed to move light things. So, for example, we have a rickshaw. So, when your rickshaw wale bhaiya give strong pedals, when we have more than 5 or 6 children in the basic in a single rickshaw, but when he have only a one child, so he just moving it slowly, comfortably. So what we understand here, to move heavy things we need more force, to move light things we need small force. Is it clear? Okay. Next, force brings changes. As you already see a lot of changes with the help of force. One of the changes you've seen that when you push it, your door gets closed. When you pull it, your door gets open. So it is also a change now. So force can change the speed of thing. A girl rides a bike. When she pushes harder, she uses more force, the bike moves faster. So if we apply more force, so what will happen? The speed of her bicycle will increases. It means we understand it, force will result into the changes of the speed. If we apply more force, we have high speed, faster speed, and if we apply less force, it means we have slower speed. Next, force can make things go slower. The dog wants to go fast. The policeman pulls hard. He uses a strong force. The force makes the dog go slower. So what we understand here, if we want that your dog move to slower, so we can pull your dog. Force can make things to go slower. So what we understand here, when you have your dog, okay, and if you pull it, okay, so when we pull the dog will understand, and we also stop the force that, and it will result into the slower process, slower movement of your dog. So it means force can make things to go slower. It means force can make things to go slower. Next, forces can change the direction and speed of the moving things. And there we have one of the main example. When we say it is a 6, it is a 6. So what we understand here, that with the help of bat, we change the direction of the ball. So in cricket, when a bowler balls, the batsman hits the ball with a bat. The force of the bat on the ball sends it moving very fast in the opposite direction. So what we understand here, with the help of force, we can change the direction of the object. Okay. Next, force can change the position of the object. We can also change the position of the objects with the help of force. How? Let's see. If when we kick a football, we apply force to it, the ball which was stationary moves and thus change its position. For example, now I have a AC remote like this, and if we apply a force, so what will happen? It will change its position. So it means force will help us to change the position as well. Next, we have force can break things. So one of the examples you have, when you have a big dough of your wheat, so what you observe, you just take a small part of it and you start making your chapatis. So what will happen? That with the help of force, you can also break the things. Let's understand it in detail. If we hit a piece of glass on a marble with a hammer, it breaks into pieces. Thus, when force is applied on brittle bodies, they break. So, what we understand here, with the help of force, we can also break the things. Now, force can change the shape of the soft bodies. So, we apply force on soft objects for our benefit in our daily life. For example, rolling of chapatis, crushing of boiled potatoes, and taking out the paste or ice creams from tubes. So that when we apply force, shapes of soft bodies change. A ball of clay becomes flattened when it is pressed. So if we have soft bodies, so we can change the if we have soft bodies, so we can change the shapes of that soft bodies as well. But this AC remote is a solid object. If I applied force on it, it cannot change its position. But my force which is applied on this AC remote, it is weak. But if I take this remote inside the under the car, so what will happen? It will crush. So it means to change the position of anything, we just need a particular and a appropriate force to change it. For example, if we have chapatis, so we can apply a small force and this will be result into the roundness. This will be converted your big and round chapati. Okay, so with the dough will converted into chapati. So what we understand here, with the help of force, we can also change the shape of the objects. Opposing forces in a tug of war, two forces act in opposite direction. If the two opposite forces are equal, the object remains stationary. If one is stronger than the opposite force, the object moves in the direction of the stronger force. For example, there is a tug of war. So what we understand, in both the direction we are applying force, okay, in opposite direction. If the forces is equal, so this object will remain stationary. But if one side the force is stronger, so this object will move towards the stronger force direction. I hope so, student, this is clear to you. Now we are going to learn about the types of forces we have. So first, we know that force is the causes of all kinds of motion. Motion means basically the movement, okay? We can change the motion only by using forces, and we will change the motion by just using the forces. The first, we have frictional force. Try moving something on a rough surface, then push the same thing on a smooth polished surface. It is easier to push the things on the smooth polished surface. It means when something moves, it rubs against other things. Rubbing slows moving things down. This is a kind of force that slows down the moving object. A force which slows down moving object, it's called force of friction or frictional force. So what we understand here, as you seen, this AC remote surface is smooth, right? If I have object and I want to move on this object, so that object will move very slowly in on this AC remote. But if you have ubad khabad plane, okay, if you have unstable plane and you want to ride your cycle, you want to take your bicycle on that, so what will result into, it will result into it lowers your speed, okay. But if we have a smooth surface, it will increases the friction. We also understand it friction with the help of our tires, with the help of our new shoes, that we have a friction. That is why the interaction between the surface and your object would result into the movement, okay. Now friction is useful in daily life. Now what is the role of force in our day-to-day life and why it is important for us? So let's have a look on it. Friction helps us to walk. The changes of falling on a wet slippery floor are because there is a little friction. So you see, if you have a wet slippery surface, so you will fall down. But it is so but if it's dry, so you can generate a friction there and you can easily move there. Friction helps us to grasp things. It is easier to hold onto a glass bottle when it is dry. The bottle tends to slip from our grasp when it is wet. Water makes things slippery. In other words, it reduces the friction between our hand and bottle. So what we understand here, we need friction to hold something, to walk on surface, because it's generate a connection, okay, between us or surface, between us or object. If that friction, this connection, if lost, so what will result into, it will result we cannot move on floors, okay. If we have fat surface, so what will happen here, we have reduction of friction and we cannot able to walk on the floor. If we have a wet glass, so what will result into this, that we have a low amount of friction and we cannot hold that glass properly. Now friction helps the car to move and stop along roads as and when desire. The tire of a car are rough so that the car does not skid. So what we understand here, if you ever seen the tires closely, so they have some spaces, right? And this spaces will help into the connectivity, into the generating the friction. If you seen the roads, it's not smooth, right? They have rough surface, and just because of that rough surface, the rough surface of the road and the rough surface of the tire can make and can generate a friction, and that is why they are not getting there, and that is why your car does not skid and move properly. Now mountaineers wear spiked solid shoes while climbing mountains. So with the help of spiked shoes, what they do, they can generate a friction, okay. Because on mountains we have what, wet surface. We have wet surface because mountains have ice, so it will result into the fall down of the mountaineer. So what we have to do, at that time the mountaineers were spiked, so just because of that they can generate a friction with the mountains. Next, on steep mountain slopes, mules are used to carry loads. A rough surface gives a strong foothold. So basically what we understand here, if we have a rough surface bits, okay, and if this rough surface can make a connection with the surface, so it will be help us to walk smoothly. Now in some situations friction is harmful too. For example, it makes machines less efficient. When two objects daily connect to each other, for example, you see in this oiling process, so what will happen in this, these two things are regularly connect like this. So what will result into this, hey, the proper lubrication is not happening at that time, So it will be result into the less efficiency of the engine. Next, it slows down machines, makes them hot, and causes a lot of wear and tear. The regular interaction, and we already know that heat, what is heat is an interaction between the objects. If the object is regularly interacting like this, so it will be resulting to the heat, and if we have heat, so there is a wear and tear situation. Okay, now machines have to work harder to overcome the friction, so energy is wasted. So at that time, engines have to put more energy to reduce this friction, and it will result into the energy wasted. The friction can be reduced by oiling and greasing machines parts regularly. Bowling wear are placed between the moving parts of machines to reduce friction. So how can we reduce this friction problem? We can use regular oiling and regular greasing. It will result into the smooth interaction between two objects, and further this friction is useful. Further, this thing is useful for us, not waste. Next we have gravitational force, and we already know about gravitational force, that Newton explained us that apples fall down. Okay, so we observe a ball or anything objects thrown from some height comes down. Everything which we pull up, it have to be fall down, and that is referred as your gravitational force. A ball thrown up in the air comes back to the ground. A mango falls to the ground when it breaks off from a branch. A pencil slipped off from your hand falls to the floor. There is a force which makes objects move towards the ground. It is called your force of gravity or gravitational force. So what we observe here, that if this object I have, and I just, so what is the result of it? That this object not go upwards, it's go downwards. So this is referred as your gravitational force, that everything which we do upwards, it have to be down. Okay, that is referred as your gravitational force. Gravitational force is a pulling force. It pulls things towards the earth, because earth also have energy. Okay, if the earth had no gravity, all of us would be floating in the air as we do, as you seen in this space. You see a lot of space movies. So what will happen there, that all the people are floating in air, because on the other planets there is no gravitational force. Now it is the gravitational force that enable us to stay firmly on the ground when we walk or run. So with the help of gravitational force, we can walk on the floor and we can stand firmly on the ground. Without gravitational force, it could not be happen. So student, this is the end of your chapter and your syllabus as well. I hope so you enjoy this chapter and you learned so many concepts with me. Now you have to start preparation for your exams, and I'm going to meet you in your higher classes. Till that, bye bye, and stay focused and hard work for your exams. Bye bye.